A very warm welcome to each one of you for joining us today. You see, these simple words reflect so much of our everyday work life, like meetings, emails, deadlines, projects, support, and the focus, the breaks that we need, and also our well being. Correct? And that connects perfectly with our today's topic handling stress in the modern workplace. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Sunil Abraham Minan. Dr. Sunil is a senior consultant pediatrician. He completed his MBBS, MD in pediatrics, and senior residency from AIMS, New Delhi. He also earned the membership of the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health, London in 2001. He later worked in Kerala and from 2024 onwards, he has been living in Kottanur, Bangalore. What makes today especially meaningful is that Dr. Sunil is not only an accomplished medical professional, but also someone deeply committed to guiding and encouraging others, especially young people, as they navigate life's challenges. For more than 2 decades, he and his wife, Dr. Shanti, have been mentoring young couples and supporting families in parenting as well. He is also blessed with two children, Hannah and John. We are truly happy and honored to have him with us this morning. So, without further delay, I warmly welcome Dr. Sunil. Over to you, Dr. Sunil.
Thank you, Vijayalakshmi, and a very good morning to all of you. Well, we are going to discuss something which is a very pertinent topic, something which we are all those who are working uh, outside home in an office setup or factory or whatever, we do face a lot of stress. See, I was recently telling someone that, who came to the clinic, just to live in this world itself is stressful. Then over and above, in our modern workplace, there are a lot more stresses. Now, we can't escape this. We have to face it. So, how to handle the stress in the modern day workplace is the thing. And well, handling stress in the modern workplace. The modern workplace is much different from what used to be earlier. And so there are some special stresses related to that. So, what are the usual stresses in the modern workplace? There can be many causes of stresses. There can be personal problems which people are going through in their lives, and maybe they are sick, or maybe there is problem in their family, etc., financial problem. But specifically in the workplace, one of the common problems which people are facing is job insecurity. You see, you would all be knowing about the cases of, especially the IT people. They go on one fine day, they are unable to log in. Why are they unable to log in? Because they are no longer part of that company. Can you imagine the stress that a person can have? He gets out of his home thinking that he's going to work in his company, and then he's not even sure whether he will be working in that company on that day. So, job insecurity is a big problem, and I would say that with the coming of AI and all, especially, a lot of problems. And then the private companies having this hire and fire kind of a culture. So it's a real problem. Then apart from this, there is work-life imbalance, long duration of work. When people start working a lot, it can really affect them. So there's this work-life imbalance which can happen. Then on top of that, there is work from home nowadays. Now, work from home should have been less stressful, but then sometimes, I know of people who are working from home, and then they're managing home affairs, and children are there, and all kinds of extra stress comes when people start working from home. And many people who work here may be working for their clients who are in the opposite side of the globe. So they may be working at night and they may be getting inadequate sleep. There can be harassment by the seniors. And, the people call you up and say, hey, you are not achieved the target. This is the thing. Now, they in turn are shouting at you because they are being shouted at by their bosses. So all of these problems can happen. And then there are problems of unfairness. Sometimes we can be so angry because we have been treated unfairly, unjustly. Sometimes the seniors can show partiality to somebody. Sometimes we may have worked hard, but nobody appreciated it. So things like that can really cause a lot of stress in the workplace. Now, can be few other stressors like interpersonal conflicts. Sometimes when things are disorganized, things can go wrong and it can cause more stress. Now, the latest problem is multitasking. People do some 2 or 3 tasks at the same time. Now, while we may think that increase efficiency, but definitely it can cause increased stress. Then there can be physical discomfort of sitting in one place for a long time. So a lot of stressors are there. So what we must understand is it is not the pressure itself that breaks us. It is our posture under pressure. When we are under pressure, how do we react to it? That's the main issue, you see? Because anyway, it's not that only in the modern workplace there is pressure. You see, people who were doing agriculture earlier, they had pressure. Will there be rain? Will the crops be all right? Will the will the fruits and all, will they be eaten by pests? Will they get a good price? So there can always be worries and pressures in any workplace. But how do we deal with it? And that's the most important thing. So let me now attempt to give some advice. Okay. Now, this advice, around 15, 16 advice I want to give. And I really thought about it. And let me tell you this to you one by one. You see, one of the most important things is if you get to choose a job, which nowadays is very difficult because there is hardly any jobs. So you kind of take any job which comes along. But if any one of you have the luxury of choosing either job A or job B, and some of you have the luxury of choosing job A or B or C, most people, how they choose a job? Which job gives you the most money? Or which job gives you the most status? Oh, I'll be the assistant vice president of this place. Oh. Many people, when they choose a job, they don't look at how is the working atmosphere. How stressful will it be? So people jump into certain jobs and later on they say, Array, I thought I was the all Tamil Nadu manager of this thing. But ever since you took up that job, now you are traveling such a lot. You don't have time with your family. My question is, who asked you to choose that job? But you know why most people choose jobs like that? Because either for salary or for status. And let me tell you, this is one very important thing which we must understand. The love of money is a root of all sorts of evil. It's not money that is the problem. It's the love of money. So because people in general are loving money so much, they usually tend to choose a job which will give more money. And then finally you end up there, you realize that, oh, who is going to give you free money? Yeah. You will have to work more than, where people will try to extract every rupee that they give you from you. So why not, prevention is better than cure in medical field, that's one very important adage that, after having the problem, then you try to solve it. No, why not prevent it? Why not choose a job which is less stressful, which has lesser working hours, which has a better kind of a management? Next, advice. Learn what triggers stress in you. You see, all of us are very different. Okay? Certain things can trigger stress in you, may not trigger stress in somebody else, but they may have their own triggers. So it's good to know that, oh, these are the things which cause stress in me. In general, what triggers stress in us is deadlines. Some people wait till the deadline, one day before the deadline to, and then they have a lot of stress. Till that 2 days back, before that, they are cool, but then they will have a lot of stress. So, so if you are a person who is, not knowing how to handle deadlines, then it becomes a big problem, you see. Then job security, shouting from the boss. So, once if we understand that what is it that triggers stress in us, then we will be in a better place to manage that stress. Number 3, we need to set smart boundaries. In bracket, I have said, and live smart boundaries. Many of us know that we need to make boundaries, and I have written smart boundaries. You see, especially if you're new, a fresher, then you may not be able to keep a lot of boundaries. You will have to agree to almost everything. But if you are a hardworking person, okay, certainly, you can, after some time, say that, sir, these are certain things to your superiors or even to your colleagues. It is good to say no sometimes. There are some people who just don't know to say they don't know to say no. They can't say no to anybody. So what happens? They end up pleasing everybody, and they themselves get stressed. I'm not saying that we must not help our colleagues or friends, but then we all would have some colleagues who try to take advantage. They say, can you do this also? Can you do this? Well, once in a while, definitely you should help, and we should help one another, carry one another's burdens. But then, if we must be wise in these matters, we must learn to say polite no to requests that you won't be able to handle without extra stress. So this is very, very important. Next, it's good to take regular breaks and downtime. Some people think work is worship. I would not say that work is worship. You see, work is very important, and we must work well, work efficiently, we must be productive, but don't worship work. We need to take regular breaks and downtime so that we can be more productive. Otherwise, what will happen is, we will be jaded and tired. So it's good to take weekly breaks. It's good to go for holidays. Somehow in India, this thing about holidays was not there, at least in the previous generation. Now the new generation is, learning this. It's good to go for holidays once in a while and be rejuvenated and be refreshed. Now, we also need to develop healthy responses in general, that we must have a lifestyle where we can do regular walking, a gym or yoga or swimming, basically physical things. And then also for our mind, it's good to read a book or go to a concert, ride bikes with friends, or do some hobby which will help you to de-stress yourselves. uh, I have not mentioned unlimited scrolling on the internet. It can only increase our stress when we read too much. So we need to limit our time in the of scrolling and social media. But if we can do some of these things, that will also help us. You see, we all want, or at least like, perfection. Perfection in anything is excellent. But we have to understand that we all are working in less than ideal conditions. So we may not be able to be perfect in everything that we do. So there are some people who by personality are perfectionist, they can't relax till they have done it the best way. But in that process, it can add to their stress and sometimes to the stress of other people also. So I would say we must all aim for perfection, but we must also be wise with the available time and resources. Whatever can be done to the best of our abilities, we must do. But don't try to do beyond that, because that can only add to your stress. One of the things which we can all do is to get organized. See, getting organized is more a mental thing, actually. If you are organized in your mind, you're overall organized person. So you organize the day. So you look at what needs to be done, and then you plan accordingly. So you are organized in the scheduling things, and you are organized maybe in your room. You are organized in your files where you have kept, so that retrieving is easy. You see, if you are not overall an organized person, then at the right time you will not get the things what you want. You may not get the file that you want. You may not even find the pen that you have, or whatever. You may not find your glasses, and you will be unnecessarily stressed. It's good to be organized, and that can help in handling stress in general. It's good to get comfortable. Some people think that they have to work hard, so they should not be comfortable. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you should be so comfortable that you don't work. No. You take measures to get comfortable so that you can work efficiently. Even for example, it's good to have a comfortable posture. I will ask all of you to look at this picture for a minute. Look at the computer, at what level it is. Look at the table. Look at the person's vision, the sight of vision. Look at his neck, his back, his arms. Look at his thigh. It is parallel to the ground. Look at his knees, how it is, his ankle. All of this is good to have a comfortable posture while sitting and working. So keeping the feet flat or resting them on the floor or a footrest. Avoid crossing the knees or ankles. Look at that. There is a small gap between the back of the knees and the chair. You see? That also helps. Positioning the knees at the same height or slightly lower than the hips. Sometimes people sit in a very uncomfortable posture and they themselves don't know why their body they are uncomfortable. Placing ankles in front of the knees. Look at this man's ankle. It is in front of the knees. Shoulder must be relaxed. Sometimes under stress we are like this. Relax. Not drooping shoulders, but Keep the forearms and the knees parallel to the floor where possible. Keeping the back against the chair or using a backrest or cushion. That's also very good. Avoid sitting for extended periods. Ideally, take at least some break for every hour of sitting, Keep monitor at an arm's length and no more than 2 inches above the natural line of sight. See, nowadays, many people are developing the neck spondylitis, pain here, because they are always looking at their phone like this. But it is good to look straight, And we can customize our workplaces. And I have seen people using a standing desk to alternate between sitting and standing. You can stand also, So comfortable posture overall is a good thing, You may think, what's the relation between this physical? Because stress is more of mental. But please understand, our body is spirit, soul. Our life is spirit, soul, and body. So it's not that there are 3 compartments like this. They're all mixed. What happens inside in our spirit, what happens in our soul can affect the body. What happens in the body can affect the soul. You see? So there are psychosomatic illness. How many of you know that? What is psychosomatic illness? Psyche, soul, and somatic means body. So certain things happening inside our soul, for example, people who are worried, people who are stressed, can have acidity, which is a body issue, isn't it? So psychosomatic illness is, but there are so many different types of psychosomatic illnesses. Yeah. So that's so what sometimes physical things can also affect our mental things. Mental things can affect physical things, etc. Next point, which I would like to emphasize is we need to encourage open communication about mental well-being. You see, suppose a person is very sad, or feeling very anxious and not able to control themselves, or suppose somebody is having suicidal thoughts. In India, overall, seeking help regarding mental health is considered shameful. Hey, he has gone to a psychologist, psychiatrist, kuch to gadbad hoga, So it's considered a shameful thing. But now things are changing, especially in the metros. Things are changing. The attitude to mental health and the importance of mental health is really coming up now. Now, especially with regard to men, there is a problem. You see, there can be exceptions, but overall, women, when they meet each other, they openly share about, oh, I was feeling sad, I'm feeling like crying, and things like that. But men, there can be men who are going through real trouble, who will meet another friend of his. They will talk about Trump, and they will talk about IPL, and they will talk about share market and everything, and still not even say that, I'm feeling like quitting, I'm feeling very sad, etc., etc. And so I would encourage all you men who are listening to me, of course, women I would encourage, but especially men, don't think that it is less manly to tell another person that you are not feeling fine, because if you bottle up, finally, like, it is going to come out anyway. So I would encourage all my hearers to regard it, to be open, and you communicate about your mental well-being, especially if you're not feeling well. Yeah. So it's good to have close friends, and associated with this is my next point. So don't be afraid to ask for help. See, the previous point was that in general, it is good to communicate about small issues, this, that. But suppose you are really going through a lot of difficulty, then don't be afraid to ask for help from whom? Number one, trusted, mature friends. Now, 2 words I have used here, trusted, because if you tell some friends with some problem and you cannot trust them, then they will tell some 10 other people, and then things become out of hand. Then second, you need to ask help from mature friends, because if you ask help from immature friends, they will give you some immature ideas. And, it's like a blind man leading another blind man and both falling into a pit. So that shouldn't happen. If things are not able to be solved with mature friends, and I have not written there, but family, suppose you are close to, you have a spouse, you can talk to them, or your parents. If things are not settled there, you can ask for help from psychologists or even psychiatrists. Yeah. And what about counselors? So please don't be afraid, or may I add the word hesitant, to ask for help, especially if you see things going downhill. Okay. Now, all of us can feel sad. All of us can feel anxious. Okay. That is part of human life. You don't need to go to psychologists. You don't need to go to counselors or anybody. When should we ask for help? You see, I'll tell you something interesting. During my MBBS days, we had a psychiatry posting. After the psychiatry posting, many medical students were feeling that they are all having some psychiatric illness. Now, please understand that all of us can have anxiety, depression, even, you may feel that you are an odd person and all those things. But when should we ask for help? When these things are affecting our daily life. If any of these things are affecting our daily life to the point that we are unable to work or unable to function socially, then you must ask for help. Very, very important. Next, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of this point. Develop an attitude of gratitude. What is the meaning of the word gratitude? Gratitude means it's not just that you tell somebody thank you. You go to a hotel and the waiter gives you a bottle of water. You say thank you. Or somebody opens the door for you. You say thank you. Now that is you're not grateful to them. You see, gratitude is a feeling which we have in our heart that, oh, we have received something. And so you are thankful. Who are the people who don't have gratitude? People who feel entitled. They don't have gratitude, but develop an attitude of gratitude. So I would say, frequently give thanks. Now, some of you may ask, give thanks to whom? I would say give thanks to God, the one who created you. And give thanks to the ones who have done good things for you, including your parents, maybe your employers. You see, when we develop the opposite attitude of entitlement, yeah, I have earned all this, then that's a very, very bad attitude to have. Let me just remind some of you, if you are a person who is earning 1 to 2 lakh per month and you have a car and you are renting a 2 BHK, 2 or 3 BHK, you are already in the top 1% of the population. Yeah. Now, some of you may say, no, it's not top 1%. Okay, top 3%, top 5%. Which means if in India there are 100 people, 95 people have less than you. Just that thought itself must, you should already have that contentment. So develop an attitude of gratitude, develop an attitude of contentment. Otherwise, what will happen is, you will constantly compare yourselves with your friends. Then you will say, in my company, I am working for so many hours, but that my friend has to work only less. I am earning this much, but that friend is earning, who was worse than me in my college days, he is earning or she is earning this much. So always that will develop unnecessary stress in you. You are getting enough. and your food, clothing, shelter, everything you have, but yet you may have additional stress unnecessarily. you know so that's the sad part. There are so many people who are so well off, but they are so much in stress, according to me, unnecessarily, because they don't have attitude of gratitude. They think they deserve more. So some people, may think, you see, Suryavanshi is only 15 years old, and see how much he is earning. Yeah. Some people, let them earn, let them do some things, okay, and be happy for them. You develop an attitude of gratitude, and even when what I do, I'll tell you frequently on during the day, I sometimes think, oh, I thank God, I have dash this. And I give retail thanks. What's the meaning of retail thanks? What is the opposite of retail thanks? Wholesale thanks. So there are some people who say, oh God, I give million thanks to you. Kodanu kodi nanni. No. Don't give kodi nanni. Don't give million thanks. Give some thanks for 4 or 5 things which you have. That will really make you a person who is able to handle stress better, and you are in a better place to handle stress when it comes. Around three more points I am going to say. Now, there are some people who have no problem in life actually now, but they are always thinking about the tomorrow. So they are saying, now it is all right, but I'm worried about tomorrow. What will happen? What will happen when petrol price rises? What will happen when AI takes over? What will happen? What will happen? And they are stressed today for what they think is going to happen tomorrow. And I quote from the Bible something what Jesus Christ said. And which of you, by being worried, can add a cubit to his height? Talking about today, if you are worried, how is that helping you? Will that increase your salary? Will that increase your peace? Why are you worried? So Jesus Christ says, so do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will care for itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. So I tell many patients, my patients are all children. So I tell their parents, you see, today itself, this child has a problem. There are some children who may have some problem here. Then that girls, then they say, oh, my daughter is only 3-year-old. What will happen when she's 25-year-old? What about her marriage? Arey, bhaiya, now just imagine that girl has hardly any problem today, but they are worried when the child is going to be 25. So do not worry about tomorrow. It's very important. And let me quote something what Buddha said. He said, the past is already gone. Future is not yet here. There is only one thing which you have in your hand. You see, that's the present. That's the moment for you to live. There are many people who are living in the past. There are some people who are anxious about the future. But let's live neither in the past. Of course, we can learn things from the past. And let's not worry about the future. We can be prepared about the future. But let's live in the present. And I would strongly say overcoming worry is a very important component of handling stress. And next, let me come to something very specific to women. And I have 2 points here. The first point is about sexual harassment. So earlier there was something called Vishaka guidelines, but now there is this new POSH Act, Prevention of Sexual Harassment of Women at the Workplace, 2013. This act actually includes any woman. Now, this woman, mind you, she can be a permanent employee, but she can even be a temporary employee, contractual employee, ad hoc employee, daily wage worker, apprentice, intern, or even visitor to the office. In other words, they have defined woman here in such a way that people cannot sexually harass women and say, no, that person is not, is only a temporary employee or ad hoc and nothing. No, women should be harassed. And so this act, there is this provision. So again, what constitutes sexual harassment? Physical contact and advances, a demand or request for sexual favors. It can be request also, okay? That can be harassment. Making sexually colored remarks, showing pornography, any other unwelcome physical, verbal, or non-verbal conduct of a sexual nature. So, it's pretty well defined, I would say. So the POSH Act mandates that in any office or branch with 10 or more employees, there must be an internal committee. It should not be after the problem. Before the problem itself, there should be an internal committee. That internal committee must have a senior woman employee. It should be headed by a woman employee. And at least 50% of that committee, more than that, should be women members, and it should include an external NGO representative to ensure transparency. Otherwise, if everybody is only within the company, they can be biased. Okay. And this committee is supposed to complete inquiry within 90 days. They cannot do inquiry for 3 years, nothing. And once that is over, within 10 days, they have to report, and then they have to implement that report within 60 days. So I would say this is a very good thing, and especially women who undergo sexual harassment, please understand that there is something like POSH Act. By the way, men should also know this, so that they are not reverse harassed. You see, they should also be very careful while dealing with women colleagues. Another thing, I'm just jumping and then I'll come back. There's some problems which are unique to working women, actually, especially in the Indian context. There has been a lot of patriarchy. So women are supposed to manage homes. Now, in the modern workplace, many women are working as much as men in the workplace. And then they have to come back home, cook food, look after children, manage home affairs, and it becomes very, very stressful for women. And definitely, if there are working women who are married, they need help from their spouse and an understanding. Family should be there. Family, servants, or in various ways they need to be helped. And also, working women during pregnancy, they need special help. Even if they are not pregnant, every month they will have time when they have periods. So this can also increase stress. Obviously, this, but just recognizing this itself helps us and helps us to even help others. Just 2 more points, and that is overcoming our fears. You see, till now I have told about worrying, about various other things, but there comes a point when no matter what other people say, no matter how many people tell, don't worry, your job may not go, or still after a point, we may still have fears, and that can add to our stress. And I would say, personally, I have been really helped in facing my own fears. My life has been changed through Jesus Christ. So there's this verse in the Bible which says, I sought the Lord and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears. Think about a little child. No matter how much you explain to that child, still after some time, the child can still be afraid. But what can give comfort to that child? How can that child's fear go when the child understands that my father is with me, my parents are with me? That sense is what will really help. Now, you may be in your workplace and you are alone. You may have colleagues, you may have friends, but at the end of the day, if you do not know God, you see, but look at the other way. If you know God, you can really cry out and God can help you. Lastly, The last point which I want to tell you all is equip yourselves, or maybe I should use a word called upskill yourselves. Keep learning, keep growing. Some of the stresses which you are having most probably is because you are not good at that, but you are supposed to do that. Imagine you have to type a lot, but you don't know typing. Simple thing. If you learn typing, then you could have been very good at that, isn't it? Or you have another job which requires you to have a particular skill or knowledge of a particular thing or a particular program. Study that, upskill yourselves, because that will really help you to equip. Once you are equipped, then you will be in a better place to handle stress. Now, despite all that I have told you, you know, I don't think that all your stress will go away because of, if you follow all the points which I am saying, but definitely you will be a person who will be able to handle stress much better. So, what are the takeaways? The takeaways, according to me, should be that inevitably there will be stress. Okay, we all are going to face stress. How are we going to manage it? Okay.
So, Dr. Sunil, so what are some early signs that workplace stress is becoming unhealthy?
Yes, as I told you, a baseline level of stress can be there for almost anybody. Some fear, some anxiety, some discontentment, etc. But we should be concerned if that is causing us to some kind of a thoughts, which is really causing us to not even do our daily routines. We do not even want to get up. These are the signs of depression. We were taught in medical school that signs of depression are feelings of uh, hopelessness, worthlessness, guilt. Why am I even living? So those kinds of things. And then sometimes workplace stress can lead people into addictions. So they might go into alcoholism. I mean, anybody can go into alcoholism any day, but sometimes out of stress, people can go into this or addictions. So those kind of stress, those kinds of things can also happen. That can be a pointer. And sometimes people bring these workplace problems into their homes. So if they are married, they will have problem with the spouse, you see, and even I would say, or with the children. They may not be able to do their other responsibilities well. So that is also a red flag, I must say, that when a person who is, see, we are working, but that's not our only role. You see, you may be a IT professional, but are you only IT professional? Are you not a son or a daughter? Are you not a husband or a wife? Are you not a father or a mother? Are you not a friend? Are you not a member of the society? When, because of things in the workplace, a person is not able to function well in the other responsibilities, you see, and then it becomes a problem. But we don't have to wait till then. I would again emphasize prevention is better than cure.
We have one point in our chat box
Hmm.
that is like men are also vulnerable at workplace in a
Yes,
company.
Chandrasekhar. Yes, I know him. Yeah, I think that's a important point, um, because there was a time when the women were really the people who were disproportionately suffering. You see, but now there has been much better awareness, especially in the cities, and women are become smarter, I would say. So, and They, but you see, then sometimes men uh, are relatively neglected. So actually, men have their own issues. So I agree with Chandrasekhar when he says that men are also vulnerable, but not necessarily sexually, but in many other ways. So definitely, I think both men and women both need help. It's not just that only women need help, but I especially told about women because still, especially in India, women do face more problems. Yeah.
Mm, while we wait for few other,
Mm.
okay, we have another question. Like,
Mm.
how can we get motivated to work better with ambitions other than love for money or position?
Wow, good. Uh, so this person who has asked this question, what I understand is he thinks that most of the ambitions are for most of the things that are fueling ambition is either money or position. But there can be other good motivation, isn't it? The A person who trusts in God can work very well, not just for money or position. By the way, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with money or position. Good, even there should be good people in high positions also. But they can work to please their heavenly master. You see, that, oh, I want to be a good steward of the work which I have been given, and I must be faithful in my work. So that can be one very good motivation to please my heavenly master. And let me tell you, years back when I uh, went to meet a hospital owner in Kerala, so I had a talk with him, and I said, "See, I'm a very faithful person. But please understand that even when you are not looking at me, I will work." Because most people work when their boss is looking at them. Otherwise, they will not work. I said, because I have a heavenly boss. And so even if you are not looking at me, I am accountable to God, and therefore I will be faithful. So that can be one motivation. The other motivation can be to help others. You see, because of our love for people, love for a particular organization which you're working, and you want them to prosper for the well-being of people, for the well-being of you can do research for the well-being of humanity. You can do good things for so that your organization can become better, your country can be better, or the people under whom you're working, that they can prosper. So there can be a lot of motivation, and then whatever we do, finally that thing is going to help somebody. So because we love their customer, if we do a good job, they will be benefited. Imagine if there's a cook, why should he be motivated to cook well? If he can be excellent in his cooking, so that people who have food made by that person will be really happy, so you can make other people happy. So there can be many motivations, I would say, uh, and which can fuel our ambition apart from love for money and position. And I would say there's some degree of self-satisfaction also, that we do something, just like an artist, he paints something. I mean, he may not be doing it for money or position, but just the satisfaction you get by looking at a finished product and say, yeah, he looked at it and it was good. So that can also be a ambition, according to me. Yeah.
Yeah, we have another question.
Hmm.
Like, if I need to say a psychiatrist, should I choose a Christian or will any psychiatrist suffice?
Well, I would say psychiatry as a discipline is a medical science, you see. So, any person, irrespective of their religion or belief, can be a good psychiatrist. Okay. Psychiatrist means a professionally trained doctor who has, after his finishing MBBS, his or her finishing MBBS, they have done 3 more years of intensive study in this field, and they have studied the scientific things regarding the illnesses, and they can really look at uh, whether this problem has some physical basis. You see, what's the difference between psychiatrist and psychologist? Psychologist is a person who will help you by listening to you and counseling you, etc. Now, psychiatrist can also listen and counsel, but psychologist is not trained to look at diseases. Psychiatrist is trained to look at diseases, like somebody has bipolar disorder, somebody has major depressive episode, somebody has schizophrenia, somebody has OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. So psychiatrists are the ones who are trained, and they are the ones who can write medicines. Psychologists cannot write medicines. Now, Christian psychiatrist can do all that the psychiatrist does, but he can provide some kind of understanding from the Bible also, maybe he can be. And so there can be that added dimension. But I would say any psychiatrist would suffice for a good psychiatry thing. If you need good Christian counseling, then you can meet a Christian counselor separately, or you can meet your pastor, you see. But psychiatry is a medical discipline.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sunil. We have one more question. How to deal with groupism in the office, which is usually connected to caste or religion?
Yes, there are many kinds of problems which can exist in, not just office, any organization. So people of the same caste, they get together, or same, sometimes what happens is same language people, they have their own groups. And in international kind of situations, so the Indians will get together, the Asians, and then the whites, the blacks. So that unfortunately is the fallen human being's nature. How can we deal with? I would say number one is we should not be like that. Okay. So I'll tell you a simple example. Now, I am a Malayali, born and brought up in Madhya Pradesh. So when I am in a room in my workplace where there are Malayali people and they try to talk to me in Malayalam, and there are other people, Telugu people and other peoples in that place, I don't talk to that person in this language. Because that person, if that person knows only Malayalam, that's a different issue. But if that person knows English, then I talk to that person in English. Because I don't want to give them an impression that just because we speak the same language, I'm bye type, This can happen not only in the workplace, it can happen in churches, it can happen in various other, this language business and this caste business. So the most important thing is for you to be an example and for you not to make distinctions based on caste or language, region, etc. So once you are that type, then other people will also be able to deal with you. But I think this question also says how to deal with that. I mean, we cannot actually, beyond a point, change other people. How can we just go to a group of people who strongly believe in caste and say, hey, there's nothing like caste in this office, there should be no caste. And now that's another point. One more point I would like to say and finish this. See, when I was working as the head of a unit, a neonatal ICU, so there were many nurses there and doctors and all, and I was in charge. So when you are in a place of authority, you can do more things. For example, I can set the benchmark. I don't make any distinction based on rich or poor. I would talk to the poor and the rich equally. I would I would talk to the sweeper very well as the consultant equally well. So once I set the benchmark, then it is very difficult for others not to deal like that. Because, but if you are not the head or you are not in a place of authority, then there is hardly anything you can do except to be a good example there and maybe pray about the situation.
We have two more questions. I think though
Oh.
two are like interlinked.
Ah,
So, if I'm asked to indulge in an unethical practice,
hmm,
so how can I decline it without sounding morally superior?
hmm.
And to what extent can ethical principles be applied in workplace?
Oh, yes, ethical principles are not for the textbook. It is to be applied only. I strongly agree with you that ethical principle and we must be ethical, but then we may have to pay a price. You see, uh, this whole world is under sin, and things are pretty bad out there. So, if you want to be ethical, maybe because you're God fearing, or maybe you just want to be ethical, be ethical. Now, other people may call you or accuse you of being, hey, you think you are some great guy, huh? Now, for example, if all your fellow people are taking bribes and you are not taking bribe, somebody can still accuse you of saying that, hey, you are morally superior, or you think that you are morally superior. It's not a matter. I am not telling anything to you. This is what I am doing. Okay. Now, passing a bill under the wrong head or a pirated software, I think we have to make distinction between whether others are doing with unethical practice and you want to be a whistleblower, or whether you are being forced to do an unethical practice. If you are being forced to do an unethical practice, you can always say no to it, but it may have some consequences, and you can tell it in a clear way. It's not because you are because this is your conviction. Okay. And I have also done like that. There have been times when as a doctor, people come and say, give me a medical certificate. Uh-huh. So, okay, so you are ill, where is the reports? Where is no reports, they just want a medical certificate. So I say, I'm sorry, if you are really ill, I could have given it, but now that there's nothing like that, I am unable to do that. Now, they may think that, hey, come on, he should have been a good friend to me. He thinks he's some great moralist. See, I never criticize that person. All I said is, I cannot do it. Okay. So that's one. The other situation is, suppose in your organization, something very bad is happening, very unethical things are happening, and you feel so bad that it's an unjust practice. If there's something you can do, you can be a whistleblower, you can tell to the top authorities. But if the top authorities themselves are into this, then you will have to decide the course of action, what you do, and whether you want to continue in that organization or not. But this morally superior or not, you make sure that you are not morally superior, but you are doing it out of whatever conviction you have. Other people may accuse you of that, but then anybody can accuse anybody of anything. We cannot be afraid of accusations. We have to be strong and we have to stand.
Thank you once again, Dr. Sunil, for sharing such valuable and insights for us with us. And also, thank you to JJSS for bringing us this meaningful program. And thank you to each one of you for taking time to join us today. This is Vijaya, your host for today's session, signing off. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.